Hello, in this video we'll talk about the scope of variables and functions. What do we mean by the scope of variable? Uh, when you have different variables in your program, these variables are not visible everywhere in the program, especially if you have functions. So it's very important to understand the scope of variables that you are using in your program, either inside the function or outside the function, so in order to be able to assign the right values and to expect the right result. Okay, so let's take a look at this example, and this example is gonna explain to us what is the scope of the objects that we have. We're going to follow this example during this video, and we're going to, as you see over here, we have different type of variables. We have variables outside the function, and we have like these feet, inches, centimeter per inches, and so on and so forth. And we have some variables like the total inches, which is inside the function. And we're going to talk about these different type of scopes that we have when it comes to variables and objects. Okay, there's two different type of scopes. We have something, or two different variables also. We can look at them at the scope of the variable. We have something called the local variables. These local variables are defined inside the functions only. They are not defined outside the function. They are defined in the function, and they are invisible to the code outside the function. The only code that can manipulate these variables is the code inside the function and cannot be used outside the function. Okay, and we have global variables. These are defined outside the function. The scope of these type of variable extend from the time you assign it in your program all the way to the end of the file. So they will be accessible and they're going to be visible from the time you assign it until the end of the program. And also they can be accessed inside the function. Okay, and this is very important thing here. We're going to see how can we modify stuff like that. Let's take a look at the previous example that we saw. Okay, so let's try to identify in this code what is the global and what is the local variables. Okay, centimeter per inch, this is a global variable. It's defined outside the function, obviously. And the other example is the inches per foot. This is a global variable. Remember when we said the global variables, from the time you define them until the end of the file, they are visible and accessible. Okay, so let's go back again here. And what about total inches? Total inches is a local variable. It's inside the function only. It's not used outside the function. And as you see from here, this over here, inches per foot, which we defined earlier outside the function, they are actually accessible inside the function. Okay, they are accessible inside the function. Let's take a look at this example over here. We have this very simple example, very simple function. We call it foo, and foo has a string called s, and we set s equal to me2, and then we print s. And outside in the global scope, we have another variable called s equal to I love you, I love seeing you, and then we call the function foo, and then we print s. Okay, what is going to be the output from this over here? Okay, first I assigned s to be I love seeing you. Okay, which is fine. It did not change anything. I just assigned a value to a variable over here. Then I called the foo function. The foo function, the program went to the foo function, found out this is s. So the value of s that I have already assigned here, I love seeing you, inside the function is not gonna change it. Okay, so when I print s over here, it's gonna print s whatever me2, which is the output over here. And then I finish the function, I go back again to my main, and then I print s. What s I'm going to print over here? I'm going to print this s outside the function. Okay, so it did not change it. We're going to see some example that will make it more clear. We have in Python, we have something called a global statement. What is a global statement in Python? Global statement in Python, that actually is something that you can use inside the function to change the value of the global variables. Okay, so remember that we have some data types and some variables that we use. Some of them are mutable and some of them are immutable. Okay, so if it's like if the variable that we have, if you try to do some modification for a mutable global variable, for example, dictionary, you do not require to have a global statement inside. Global statement is needed if the variables that you're trying to modify are immutable, okay? And we're going to see some examples here. Here's an example. Okay, let's take a look at this example. Here it says modify. This function is modify. And inside my modify, I have my integer equal to 99. And then I say print statement over here, the value of my int inside modify, which is the function, is my int. And then outside, here is outside the function. Okay, this is in the global scope or in the main program if you want to think about it. Okay, my int equal to 10, and then I print it before I call the function, and then I call the function, and then I print it after I call the function. Let's see what's the output's going to be. Okay, so the program is going to take a look over here. I was like, okay, I have the function over here, modify. I'm going to continue. I have my int equal to 10, and then print the value of my int before colon modify is 10. That's what's going to happen here, this line. And then I'm going to call modify. The program is going to go here. It's going to say my int is 99. Print value of my int inside modify is 99, as you see it from here, the second line. And then after I finish the function, I will go back again to my program and I will print the last statement, which is the print the value of my int after column modify. Guess what? It went back again to 10. Why? Because my int is immutable. I cannot change it, or cannot change the value from inside the function. Okay, the only way I can do it to change it from inside the function and make it permanent outside the function is to use the word global. How can I use the word global? The same program that we saw earlier. We have to add a new line. We call it global. Okay, we call global and then the name of my variable. So you will see the output of this program is going to be the value of my int before colon modify is 10, which is this line over here. Then I called modify, printed out, I said global. So that means if I change my int inside the modify function, this change is going to stay and it's going to be the same change. It's going to impact the variable outside the function. And as you see over here, I printed out my inside modify is 99, and then I went back again. The value of my int after colon modify is 99. Change this time. Okay, this is very important. Global was able to change it. Okay, let's take a look over here. I have a list. Here is different. Okay, lists are mutable. Okay, that being said, I can change them inside the function without using the global. Okay, let's take a look over here. I have a list, and this list has 3 items, 10, 20, 30. And I'm going to print the values before calling the function. So the result was value before calling the function is 10, 20, 30. And then I called the function. And I went over here inside the function. I appended 40. So I added one more. I changed my list by adding an extra item, which is 40. And then I printed it inside and printed the list, including the 40. And then I went back again here and I print the list outside the function, and the 40 was there. How come this one happened without me using a global for this list? Well, because lists are mutable, different than the strings and the integers. In the previous example, it was an integer and we had to use the global to change it if you want to change it permanently. So this is what we mean by the scope of the variables and the function. So it's going to be either global or local. Okay, global, it's accessible everywhere. Local is accessible only inside the function. And I hope this is clear.